everybody. Welcome back to Good Mom. Hi, Sunny.
Hi,
so
Lindsay.
nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay, well, today I have a topic that is so near and dear to my heart, and it's really about just going with the flow. So many times, we make these incredible plans and we have everything structured and we call it time slicing and we're doing all these things all day, every day, trying to fit it all in and make our lives work. And sometimes you just need to wake up in the morning and say, I'm going with the flow. I don't know what's going to happen. And today was one of those days for me. I had no idea how my day was going to unfold. I knew we were going to be recording. But I also have two neighbors that kind of at the last minute need to go to different doctor's appointments. I'm babysitting their dogs while they're at doctor's appointments. My other friends who are visiting, one of them needed to borrow my car, came in at the last minute to borrow my keys. I mean, it's like, seriously, I just went, so much for me having any kind of a plan this morning. And I'll be really honest, it feels good. There is something quite liberating about just going with what shows up in front of you and don't get upset by it. Just go, this is it. I love it. And I wanted to talk about that with you. Have you had that experience?
I have. I think most recently I had the opposite happen where I wish I had the ability to just go with the flow. So I think this was on Monday. I didn't even realize, it's like I didn't look at my calendar in advance to know that it was going to be a very, very busy day. It was like a lot of running around and I got this deadline and all this kind of stuff going on until I was in the throes of it. And I'm like, holy cow, this is a really busy day. I did not prepare for this. And I think my anxiety reached an ultimate peak because everything was too structured. And I was just like, I don't know. It kind of needed to be like I needed to do things at certain times. And, I had to go pick up whatever. I had to pick up some subs because we were going to see some friends that night. I had to, it was just kind of crazy all over the place. And it wasn't very fun, because of that. And if I had had the ability, to just kind of go with the flow, I think it would have been better.
That is a beautifully well said way to describe the opposite, right, of how we feel when we're in flow. And I can remember when my kids were your kids' age, it seemed like every 5 minutes was scheduled with something. It just felt that way. And it was aggravating and anxiety creating. And, what happens if I miss that and don't do that and blah, blah, blah. And kind of reverting back to one of our previous episodes, it is kind of that letting go of I'm the perfect mom. That's like horse pucky anyway. We just made that up. So, but in the flow, there is something magical that happens. Time kind of stands still. And I'll use an example of that from just a week ago, Friday. I was heading into one of the biggest fundraisers for Imagine Kindness of the year. And I had a lot to get done. But I chose that day to just be in flow. Like, okay, it's the day before. What do I need? And let it show up in the right time. And everything showed up in exactly the right time. And including, I got a phone call from a neighbor who needed to go to the emergency room. I mean, it was like, whoa. So I had the time for that. I was in position in exactly the right place to be able to serve. It was magical. So I just want to put it out there that for some people, practice being in a day of pure flow. What if you had no plan? What if you just woke up and said, what do I feel like doing right now? And your whole life allowed you to be in that space. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, I kind of want to live that way every day.
I know. And I was just thinking too, Lindsay, how society comes at us with the exact opposite, especially for parents with younger kids, because you feel like a bad parent if your kid isn't involved in a lot of activities, right? Because there's that kind of comparison going on. I've experienced it even here. I've got friends that every day are taking their kids to different things and, she's got this activity and then, it's softball practice and then cheerleading and then blah, 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 because we're trying to find, a time for our kids to get together. I'm like, my kids don't have anything. And part of me though, this is me kind of judging myself, is I'm like, Oh, is that bad? I don't know. I'm not running around. I'm not doing all that kind of stuff. But that just, their schedule exhausts me just
Yeah.
hearing about it.
Mhm.
But it's an interesting situation that I think a lot of moms find themselves in now because it's like we feel like we're supposed to be doing that kind of stuff. But if we're being honest, that kind of stuff doesn't feel good. But we feel like if we don't do it, if we don't give our kids every opportunity to try every sport and every possible thing out there, that we're somehow a bad mom, which isn't true, of course.
I do think you're onto something. There is a myth that our kids need to try everything in order to find themselves. No,
Yeah,
actually, they find themselves by looking inward. In fact, all of
right.
us do, just hot tip.
Hmm.
It's not an outward experience, even though those are fun and you can learn a lot. They're not required. And
Yeah.
I think it's the downtime. I can remember like my kids saying, "We're bored," right? I remember them saying that and I'm going, "That's good. That's a really good thing. I want you to be bored at least for some of your day because
Hmm.
maybe just maybe you'll realize that there's something more going on in here than just what you're trying to do out there." And boredom is good. I get
Yeah.
bored and I love it. I'm like, I'm aiming for boredom now. Like, oh God, let me just be bored for a whole day.
When your mind is still like that, that's for me when the downloads come. When we've talked about meditation
Really?
in the past, that is itself a form of meditation. Just being
Hmm.
still,
Hmm.
and stilling your mind, that allows, I don't know, the smartest, things and thoughts I've ever had happen in those moments. But if we're constantly on the go, you're
Yeah,
not going to get that. You're going to get frustrated, and probably because you're not connecting with source God, the creator, right?
that's
Because we're meant to
exactly.
have that connection. So if you're just go 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 and you're filling your day with all this other stuff that society tells you you're supposed to be doing, then you
Yeah.
don't have that time to reconnect.
That is brilliant. It's absolutely the truth. The go, go,
Yeah.
go removes us from our connection to source and all that is. The other side of that same coin, I guess it's the same side of the same coin, is that the more we go with the flow, the more we find out who we really are. It's kind of like we
Yeah.
remember things like that were previously hidden to us. I am an extraordinarily supportive person to my friends and family. I
Mm.
love to provide support and the version of me that I am now, it's like anyone can call me with any kind of thing and I am there for support and whatever I can offer, whether it's just listening or guidance or whatever. And I think a lot of us have a thing that we are that we don't realize that we are until we're in the space where we're not filling our time.
Right.
Because,
Yeah.
I would have never known that I needed to help my friends who have medical issues. Like that was, wait,
Yeah. How
what?
can you budget for that? How can you budget your
How
time
do
for
you
that?
budget for
That's
that? You
mm,
can't. Oh, I think I'll set aside the hours from 12 to 2 to be available. I mean, it's like, what? So so I think when we just slow down enough to get into the boredom or to be with the flow, it doesn't even have to be
yeah.
boredom. It's like I woke up the other day and I said, I want to bake bread. I haven't baked bread in ever. I can't even remember the last time I did it. And I went, I'm
Hmm.
doing it. And I got out all the stuff
Hmm.
and I made a loaf of bread. Well, that was just being in flow. I
Sure.
didn't plan it. I didn't think about it. It wasn't like, oh, well, I'll make bread from 9 to 10 and then I just made bread.
Yeah.
Try it. It's amazing. I'm saying this to our audience now. It's amazing what you will discover and what you remember about who you really are as a result of just being in flow and not filling up your time. I wonder what it would be like with you and your twins, for example.
Mm.
You've got twin girls,
Yep.
and you just say, today, kids, is day of flow. Do whatever you want, and let's see what happens, right? I
Yeah.
wonder what happens.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like we've had an opportunity this summer, at least for them. I mean, I'm still working while I'm here,
True.
but
Yeah.
for them, every day is a little bit of that,
Yep.
because they don't have their regular school stuff. We're not homeschooling throughout the summer, you know. a little bit of it is, what's everyone else's schedule like. But
Yeah.
I think that's, when we lead with our highest excitement, that's something that I try to do. It's not that everything every day is going to be super exciting, but when
Sure.
you've got a couple options,
Yeah.
whenever possible, I try to lead with the thing that excites me the most,
Yeah.
and I think they're doing that most days too.
Yeah.
It's different when you're
Cool.
a kid.
I know.
You don't have as many
So
responsibilities.
so much easier as a kid.
It is. It is.
It's so true. Yeah. I think the moral of the story is to go with the flow and just try to remember who you are.
Yeah.
Really step into that. Who am I really when I'm not the human doing? When I'm just
Mm.
being, what does
Mm-hmm.
that look like?